Morning. Update on the Great Escape. So we made it from Chiang Mai to Doha in about 9.5 hours. Um, that was all fine. We had a 4 hour layover in Doha. Um, Interestingly, the jet parked so far out on the runway because obviously it was going to be mothballed. And on the way in, it took us about 20 minutes in the bus. Um, we passed what must have been 40, 50, 60 jumbo jets, all mothballed, all with protective covers over the engines. They clearly weren't going anywhere from Qatar Airport anytime soon. Anyway, we made our way into the lounge, and on the way in, we saw some very sad looking people who were stranded, quite a lot of them, in Doha. Um, and most of them had to wait 24 hours or 36 hours. Some had already been travelling 40 hours, but they needed to wait another 24, 36 hours to get flights to Manchester. They looked a very sad sight. Anyway, we managed to get a bit of rest in the lounge, and then we got back on the second leg of the plane to get to London. About 2 hours into that flight, it wasn't completely full, and interestingly, as we were getting on it, we overheard people saying how much they'd paid for their tickets, and some people had paid £3,000 or £4,000. They really didn't care. They just said, "We want to get home." A couple of hours into the flight, there was suddenly an altercation because a man right in the middle of the cabin had a terrible cough, and it was a really bad cough. And somebody must have reacted to this and said he wanted to be moved, or the guy had to be moved, and then the cabin staff had to intervene. So that was drama number one. And then drama number two, just as we were about an hour out of Heathrow, the captain came on and suddenly said, "Is there a medical practitioner on board? Could you show your validation?" And the next thing you knew, there was a guy on oxygen in the centre of the cabin, which was a bit unnerving, not least for those around him, but also, I mean, on a purely selfish level, I thought, Christ, we're going to have to land in Dusseldorf or somewhere, and we're going to be left there. Anyway, we arrived back in Heathrow safely, all was fine. Heathrow was just bizarre. There was virtually nobody there. We managed to get an Uber, and our driver said he'd actually been waiting for 7 hours outside the airport for a job. That's how skint he was. He was an interesting character, a bit of a conspiracy theorist. And he said he'd heard from an Indian man on the internet that this was all caused by the Rothschilds. And I said, well, that might be a bit of a conspiracy theory. And he went, "That's not a conspiracy theory." And I didn't want to go there really at that time of night. Anyway, we arrived back in Ladbroke Grove in, I think, something like 25 minutes from Heathrow. It was phenomenal. There was just no traffic on the streets, obviously nothing open, the odd kebab shop, that was it. Went to the end of our street, went to Tesco's, that was shut, went to Sainsbury's. The taxi driver warned me, said, "Oh, there'll be nothing in the supermarket," and I kind of thought, don't be silly, of course they will. But he was right, the shelves were pretty bare, and most of the essentials were missing, and of course there was definitely no toilet paper. I mean, I actually do need some toilet paper. We haven't got a sheet of the damp stuff in the house. Anyway, I've been to India. I can improvise. There were no eggs, none of that kind of stuff. So we're going to have to go out this morning and try and get those bits. So we woke up this morning. We're pretty knackered. We're pretty jet lagged. And we got two bits of bad news. One, we discovered that the building works, which are in the flat above me, are still ongoing. Which I cannot quite believe that we're going to have to sit here for 6 weeks with building works above us, or that they're going to carry on. But they say that there is no directive yet clearly issued by the government. And the second bit, lo and behold, the EasyJet flight to Nice has been cancelled. Now that's the second one they've cancelled, and it's not because the border's closed, it's because, as far as I can gather, EasyJet are just mothballing all their planes because BA are still flying to Nice course, if you check on the BA website, it's I think £400-600 one way. Completely ludicrous profiteering yet again. So we have to now make a decision whether we're going to take a crazily expensive flight in maybe a week's time, or whether we stay in London and join in with everybody else and do something useful and help other people and all of that kind of stuff. The other problem I've hit is that I suddenly realised that we left Nice on January the 5th. We didn't take any warm clothes deliberately because we wanted to travel light for Thailand, so we just got t-shirts and shorts. I have not got a single thing that is warm. I went into the wardrobe to look at old clothes in cupboards, and I realised I'd had a clear out about 6 months ago, and the only thing I can find that is warm is Sebastian Horsley's old red velvet suit, which I inherited. I can't begin to tell you how funny he would find it to see me going up Portobello in a crushed red velvet suit to buy some eggs and some toilet roll. Speak to you later. Bye. Hope you're all well.